One of the most amazing things about what we get to do is we get to have impact every night of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, it is your host, CL King, coming to you live from the High Definition Studios here in Impactville. Just got off the road, hustled back to the studio, set everything back up and said, y'all think we sleeping? No, we going full live tonight, y'all. And we're so blessed to have our guest who is really going to impact you in a dynamic way. And one of the things that I like to tell people to do is when we bring a guest on, you got to strap in, you got to connect. She is the author of The Power of One. And this book is written as a 30-day journal, one move each day. These moves of the day aren't just 30 push-ups or 30 burpees or planning and prepping meals, although we can, take physical nutrition well. These 30 moves are going to be about your mind, your body, and your soul. Moving your body mentally and emotionally, as well as you begin creating habits that uplift, encourage, and enlighten you. Imagine that, 30 days of just doing one thing. Our guest provides a safe space for you to plug into, to work through these moves with others, and to get accountability and encouragement. You know, one thing that I recognize is that oftentimes we get overwhelmed by what we have to do. Right? We have these long laundry lists of things to do. We got to take out the trash, we got to walk the dog, we got to cook, we got to do homework, and we get overwhelmed by the stuff. And so then what we oftentimes do is we put ourselves on the back burner. Well, this is why we've shifted our schedules around tonight to have none other than the one and only Echo Royale from Pamlico County. And we brought her here because she is an author, she is an entrepreneur, she is a fitness guru, she is a mom, she is a grandmom, she is a Christian, a lover of God, and you know what else she is? She is a believer in this thing called the power of one. Yeah, so I had to sneak into my daughter's room tonight to grab the book back from her because she has it. So I want everybody to strap in, focus closely, because tonight is going to be not about a myriad of things, but we're going to help you with the power of one. Put your hands together and help me welcome my friend, Echo Royale. Welcome, Echo.
Thank you, CL. That was amazing. I love that introduction.
Didn't I tell you that the introduction is about the price of admission, right?
Yes, and it's so true.
Well, we do that on purpose because as a professional speaker, Echo, I'll just let you in on a little secret. I get introduced, 300 or 400 times a year, right? And some of the times the intro is like, well, just skip the intro. Let me just get up there and start talking. If you're not going to do it on a 10, then just don't do it, right? And so we've determined here at Impactville, Greg and I and the rest of our staff, that if we bring somebody into these hallowed sacred studios, we want you to feel like what your last name is, Royal. So anyway, Echo, 30 minutes goes by so fast. Let's get right to it. How can people contact you? It's very important that we want people to be able to get up with you right now. So tell us how folks can reach you.
They can contact me across social media at Echo Royal Fitness on Instagram and Facebook. They can go to echoroyalfitness.com, see a little bit about me, order the book, get plugged in with me, get connected, and get some accountability, and get in the tribe, get in the Warrior Woman Wellness Facebook group.
Yeah, that would be great to get in the Warrior Woman Welcome
Wellness.
Yeah, that's a lot of W's. WW.
Yes, it is.
For real. So, Greg, thank you so much. Did you already share this on your page, Echo?
I think so.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me see.
Because we want everybody around the world to connect with our friend Echo Royale, and you can find her in a multitude of locations, echoroyalfitness.com. We want to make sure that you go there and connect with her tonight, okay? Because guess what? One of the reasons why, Echo, that we emphasize people connecting with our guests is because this has become a cathedral of resources, right?
Mm.
We don't want folks to be out here alone. And so we're blessed when we get someone, Echo was not supposed to be here tonight, Greg, right? And you and I are so tired, we're so road weary that I could have just went and got into bed and went to sleep. But we said, no, we need to hear from Echo because we got an opening. And I believe that God set everything up in the perfect time because Echo was not supposed to be available, and she is tonight. So, Echo, I know so much about you. Me and you have done a book signing together, been blessed to be in the same room and doing the same things, but my audience may not know you. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, again, I'm from Pamlico County. I am an entrepreneur. I am a fitness instructor. Um, I work contract work I'm an MRI technologist by trade. My husband and I are a blended family. We have 7 kids together and 7 grandkids. And I love the Lord
Yeah.
and I want to serve him. And I love when he puts things on my heart, opens the doors and says, okay, here you go. And this book was one of those things that he told me to do.
Awesome. And Echo, for those of you who would like to connect with Echo, just go to echoroyalfitness.com. One of the things that I think resonated with me when Echo and I were sharing our pleasantries when we met one another was that she has 7 kids and me and Charity have 7 kids. And I'm like, 7 is the number of perfection. We're supposed to hang out with,
That's right.
So it really is, I got to hear a bit of your testimony and how God worked in your life. And Echo is a preacher, y'all. So I might have to reel her in a little bit because she go take the mic and she'll never give it back. That's the way us speakers are. But you have such a powerful story before we get into the book about how life was tossing you to and fro and how things turned around for you. So why don't you just share a little bit about that, some of the rough times and then how things transitioned for you.
Absolutely, CL. Thank you for asking that. I'd love to share my story. So you're right. You may have to reel me in and I'm okay with that. Um, when people talk about generational curses, it's a real thing. We've had them in our family. I am a recovered alcoholic. It will be 20 years this August. Praise the Lord. When I quit drinking in 2003, my then 13-year-old daughter picked it up. Hence, we spiraled out of control with her addiction. How that wreaked havoc on me, our family, and at that time, I was getting into a blended family relationship. And so my daughter's addiction spiraled out for 17 or 18 years. Praise the Lord, she's clean now. She's out of prison. She has got an amazing life. And the Lord has told us we're going to be writing a book about her, me, my story, her story, our story.
All right.
So I'm excited about that. But through all of that, God sustained me and my family through the phone calls, when you hear sirens going off and the first thing you're doing is you're texting, where are you? Are you okay? And that got to the point where she was just texting me when she heard the sirens, I'm fine. But as most people know, addiction is such a horrible, horrible thing to go through. The things that me as a previous addict, but then having my daughter to be 10 times, not 10 times worse, but 10 times different type of addiction. So being the mother of somebody going through addiction, how that affected all of my family, mind, body, and soul, actually. It's not a fun thing. So I feel you, women that are going through addiction, mothers that have somebody in addiction. It is absolutely gut wrenching. And I get that. All I could do was cry out to the Lord and how he brought us through, and how praying and on your knees and surrounding yourself with other women who've been there, done that, going through it, how we can lift one another up, be there for one another, and be that iron that sharpens the iron. But there are prayer warriors. I had to reach out to my community. I joined a Celebrate Recovery group here in New Bern, and they became my family, my lifeline to God and with all of those things. blended family is not an easy thing to go through either.
Well, let me
It's
let me let me interject there because I'm just listening, and you know when and again our guest tonight, our dear friend Echo Royale from Pamlico County, she is the author of The Power of One. We will be getting to that in the second half of the show tonight. But you know, my I see a panoramic view whenever I hear someone's story. And sometimes, you know, Greg, we can become numb to people's stories. You know what I mean? Like I sometimes tell folks, Echo, that hey man, I was homeless on the streets of Cleveland at 11, and they're just like, oh well, that's interesting. I'm like, do you know the dynamics of that? So when you talk about dealing with a child with addiction, and then the dynamics of trying to blend a new family together, that had to be challenging.
to say the least, yes. But when we had turned our lives over to the Lord just previous to my daughter's addiction, and if we hadn't had that, my husband and I together hadn't had that, honestly, I don't we never would have made it. Within the first 6 months, it would have been kaput because we it was hell on earth. Honestly, it was awful. And again, those that have been there, done that, or going through it, you get it. You know what I'm talking about. You're not alone in this. I encourage you to reach out to your church family, find somebody that you can talk to about this, counselors, therapists, that type of thing. Because if it weren't for some of those things in our lives, we don't know how to process those things.
Mhm.
Coming from an addiction background myself, all the things that I did as a mom in addiction led to, you modeled you what's the saying, do what they do, not what they say. You can't sit here and be drinking and get drunk all the time and tell your kid don't do this.
Mm.
They see what you do and they think, well, that's how mom copes with it. And they don't consciously think these things, but this is how my family deals with this stuff. So, I'm going to do that.
Right.
I do believe that the average of the five people you surround yourself with is who you become. And in addiction, you seek out that community that loves you in that, not because they love you, but because you'll do the drugs with them. You'll
Mm.
drink with them. I surrounded myself with alcoholics. I became an alcoholic.
Right.
My daughter surrounded herself with addicts and she became an addict.
Well, let me ask
Um,
you this. Let me ask you this, Echo. Again, this is just such a. I knew it was powerful when I heard it out there at our book signing together, and it's even more powerful now that you're sharing it. What type of strains did this put on you and your daughter's relationship?
well, we didn't really have a relationship, and for a while we actually were estranged. In some of her jail and prison stints, I didn't know where she was, and we didn't talk. She didn't feel loved by me because I didn't show her love the way she received it. And I do talk about that in the book because it was very impactful when I learned kind of what I was not necessarily doing wrong as a mom, but what I was doing wrong as a mom. I wasn't showing my daughter the love the way she needed to receive it. And so therefore she sought love in a different direction. Um, so it was just strained. It just, if we talked, it was just very strained. It was very clashy. It was non-existent relationship actually.
Understand, and ladies and gentlemen, those of you who are listening to our podcast, which is carried in 47 states and 30 platforms somewhere in the world, you can download this episode. Our guest is Echo Royal. You can find her at echoroyalfitness.com. She's sharing with us. You're right, Greg. The average of the five people you hang out with is who you become, and it really is true. That's why I probably hang out with two or three people, and that's outside of my family. That is Greg Smith and maybe one other. So it really is that way. But the reason why I asked you that is because you kind of talked about this when we were together in Pamlico about the strain on your relationship, and I'm putting you on the spot here, but how? I mean, what would you say to a parent who is trying to help their child navigate through addiction, and they really don't know what to do? I understand the faith component is obviously that's the anchor, right? But then there's the interactions. You know what I mean? Because on one hand, you don't want to appear to endorse,
Mm.
right? But then on the other hand, you don't want to appear to be heartless and cold and pushing them away. So how does that work, Echo?
I think for me, one of the biggest things that helped me outside of my faith was having a counselor. I had a therapist, so I had somebody to help me process these things. Um, if you don't know what you don't know until you know, and
Yeah.
then you make a choice, stay the same or do something different. And I didn't want to continue to stay the same because it wasn't helping the situation or the lack of relationship with my daughter. So I sought out counseling. I saw a counselor for years and I still have one. I think having that is probably it's part of self-care.
Yeah.
And when we take care of ourselves first, we can take care of others best.
Listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. She said something, Greg, and you know that Greg just said it in the chat. For those of you that are tuning into our live audience, and those of you who download our podcast, our guest is Echo Royale. She is the author of The Power of One, and man. This is why I got to have you back, Echo, because this is just so true, and we could dive so deep into this. If you understand one thing that you said. You said that you got counseling.
Mm.
Now, I was talking to some folks the other day in many of the groups that I peruse through, and someone was talking about, how did the church ever think that um, mental health or getting therapy was not it make you less of a Christian, right?
Mm,
Because that has in some ways been shrouded in the taboo, right? Like
right.
if you go to therapy, then you must
Hmm.
not be trusting God, right?
Right.
Right. But we forget that the brain is an organ and it has different diminishing factors and etc. Just like if we break our arm, we go to the doctor. But somehow if it's something in our mind, well then Jesus can handle it all. And I like your take on Christianity and being a woman of faith, but also understanding that counseling is important.
Mm. It was really good because at that time, our church offered this service, offered counseling, and it's a big part of our church. We have an entire thing called Hope Network, and it's a whole counseling services. We have counselors, lay counselors, uh, people that are going through to get their license, come in internship. So it's like a staple in our church, and it should be in the faith.
It should be. Yeah, I think you have to intermingle those two together. I'm just sitting here looking at the beautiful. I forgot these were in here. She's got these little stickers in her book, and it says, you make me happy. And I hope that if I'm in somebody's presence, I hope I make people happy. A lot of times when I speak, I'll be making them mad because I get on them. But she says, and this one says, "This is tough, but so are you." Do you know that there are some things that just simple words of affirmation can go so far? You're braver and stronger than you know. And these were given to us by my dear friend Echo Royal. So you wrote the book and we swapped books. No, we didn't swap. Listen, this is how much of a business savvy woman Echo is. She purchased my book, and then I went to her table and purchased her book. We could have just said, "Well, let's just swap." But she gets the entrepreneurial piece because she's an entrepreneur, and we respected one another and said, "Hey, I want to bless you," and she blessed me. And man, I said, "Man, that woman gets it." So, what led you to getting to this right here, the power of one, Echo?
I joined a team of with my fitness coach about 12 years ago, and she has been such a huge impact in my life. I know God brought her to my life for many, many reasons. And through the last 12 years, we have done some extensive trainings as a team and individually, and my life just changed. It restored relationships with my daughter. It strengthened relationships with my other family members. And I want to share that with everybody. I want everybody to know you don't have to stay stuck wherever you are. You can do something. If you want something different, if you desire something different in your life, then you need to do something different.
Yeah.
And I put all of those things, well, 30 of those things in this book because they were so impactful for me. And I want everybody to have the opportunity, not that they'll take it, and I get that. Sometimes it takes us a while to make the choice, but when they decide that they're ready to change and they want to do something different, I want them to know you only have to start with one thing. Just pick one thing in your life and create a habit around it.
Yeah, and this book is such she's got a journaling component in here too. And one of the things that I wrote my book with the intention of it being easy. And you have put out this book and it's very, very, like, I don't feel intimidated by it. I feel like I can just pick it up, flip open or something and be like, oh, okay, I can do that right now. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I can do that right now. And this is what I want people to understand. This is why, like Greg said, collaboration is the new currency. I
Mm.
want you to connect with our guest tonight because if you are struggling in any particular area, in particular, getting yourself active, maybe losing some weight, getting yourself healthy. I just turned 48, Echo, a few days ago. And I've decided that it's not just about losing weight, though my
Right.
clothes are fitting a little better now, but it's also about being healthier, right?
Yes,
Healthier in my mind, body, and soul. So one of
that's
the
right.
things I love the way you break it down. You got 30 days. One of the things she says, I'm gonna just pick a few, and she's gonna give us her take on that particular one. This is like you just do. You open the book, you follow the journal, and it's just one thing per day, right? She says, in let's see here, day number. I just saw it, and I want to go back to it. Day number 7. She says this: turn off notifications.
Mm.
Ooh, let's elaborate a little bit on that, Echo.
Well, I won't tell everybody what I think of what social media is doing to us as people, but get with your family. It means, have meals with your family. When you're in the car with your family, be present. When you're watching TV with your family, be present, or your friend, or you're going for a walk, or whatever you're doing. But turn off the notifications because if you're sitting with your family at dinner and every time that phone's sitting right here and it dings and you're like this, y'all know Pavlov's dog. You're
Yeah.
being conditioned
Yes.
by the phone, the tablet, the computer, whatever, the social media, that when it dings or vibrates or does whatever, you're picking it up and looking at it. Let's fight that. Let's not be conditioned to be ruled by these social media and all the electronic devices. So turn the notifications off. Just start one day and turn them off for an hour and just see, and put the phone down, put the phone in the kitchen and go do what you're going to do, but turn the notifications off so that you're not hearing it and being distracted and going back to it.
Yeah, Greg says it happened today, and you listen. We were, you're so right with with turning off notifications, and I didn't turn my notifications off. I was giving a live keynote speech in a gymnasium full of people, and I have my phone in my upper suit coat pocket, and my phone starts buzzing because somebody's trying to call me in the middle of the speech. Now, how did they know that my phone was buzzing? Because I had stuck the microphone in my pocket too, because I needed my hands free. And Greg, see, you're right, brother. I should have turned off my notification. But I used to do this, and let me just confess. Okay, it's moment of confession, guys, with my guest Echo Royale, the author of The Power of One. Every January, I used to do 30 days of no social media every January
Mm.
because Greg and I have taken on the road our a program that we created called Techno Turnoff Night for Youth.
Ah,
We
nice.
were on the news back in 2012 before social media was as popular as it is now, and we saw it back then that because kids were getting cyberbullied, etc. Right?
Mhm.
And we're like, hey man, here's a way that you can avoid cyberbullying. Turn it off. Imagine that. They won't be there if you turn it off. And that is true. And you don't have to tiptoe around this topic because Greg and we are in 100% agreement with you. We use social media as a tool, but it
Mhm.
can't be a tool that rules you.
Right, right, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree, man. But she's right on, Greg, and we got to get back to that. Just do it for. Look at what she said. It's not impossible. Man, I don't know if I can do 30 days now. I'm out of shape. I don't know if I can do that. That'd be like a fast. That'd be like a beyond a Daniel's fast, right? But if if you just said, "Hey, man, I'm gonna turn them off for a day and or an hour or whatever the case may be," you made a good point. I watched some families and I got convicted, but I felt guilty because I maybe do it too. They're sitting down at the restaurant, and all four of them is just
Yeah.
head down.
Yeah.
Y'all know that's where we're living, and
Yeah.
the only way we're going to change and do better in that is to actually change and do better in it.
And be intentional about it.
Be intentional. That's so good. She is the author of The Power of One, y'all. If you get this book, just tell her when you go. Can they get the book at your website, Echo?
Yes, they can.
Okay, EchoRoyalFitness.com.
Yes.
Yeah, man, go get this book because look at the next one that I love. She says in day number 8, she says this is one thing that you can do. Go meet up with a friend. Don't text them. Don't FaceTime them. Actually, go meet up with them. Imagine that, Echo. Elaborate on that.
Well, we went through this whole isolation thing over the last couple of years, and it got really a lot of people I've that I know have been like, yeah, I don't really want to leave the house anymore. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to do anything. But my mindset is just like, so, and I'm starting to, and I was convicted of this myself. I had two girlfriends that I don't see very often. We text back and forth, and it's like, no, we need to go for a walk.
Yeah.
Let's get out of the house, get together, because we need that community. We need that connection with one another. We just need to get outside and get some sunlight in our eyes.
Yes.
But it's something we have to be intentional about, because it's easy to say, yeah, we'll meet up next week. But if you don't connect, you don't connect.
Right, man. That is so good. And I believe in that. Some people were suggesting that well, this was just you heard that term, Echo, the new normal, right?
Yeah, I don't.
I don't buy it one bit. That we were made to be individual islands. That's a bunch of hooey.
I agree.
I'm getting ready to deliver a message. If you was free next Sunday, you should come and hear one of the services at Motion Church where I'll be preaching, because I'm gonna be talking about the edge of the huddle. Let me let you know this, just so you get a sneak peek, Echo. Penguins, the male penguins huddle together to preserve life while the mothers go off and get the food. It's as many as 4,000 of them huddle together.
Wow.
On the outside edge of the huddle, it could be negative 50 degrees Fahrenheit. But on the inside edge and on the inside of the huddle, it's 98.6 degrees.
Wow.
In Antarctica.
Wow.
Do you see how much they recognize how much they need one another?
Yes.
I feel something on that, sister.
Yeah. Yes.
So I love what she says on day 20. This is just one day, just one, the power of one, y'all. She says, the move of the day is to declutter and organize. Now, should we put a subcategory in that? Because some people might be cluttered and disorganized everywhere.
Yeah. Well, that's me. And with that, in fact, I won't go there, but with that, it's just like pick an area.
Right.
Like my dining room table, I've been trying to declutter for several months now, and I just haven't done it yet because of all the things. So, I mean, I'm human too.
Right. Yeah, right.
But what I learned from one of my counselors was to set a timer. So if I decide to go do that dining room table, one, I'm gonna put my phone off in the other room.
Right.
I'm gonna set a timer that's not on my phone, and then I'm gonna work for the allotted time, 10, 15, 20 minutes, because it forces me to do it before the timer runs out.
Yeah.
But when we declutter our physical space, that helps us to declutter our mind. I cannot work in chaos, but I almost thrive on chaos, but I hate chaos.
Yeah, I'm with you because I think we're both artsy people. So artsy people, they do have a sense of clutter in their life. And that is so true. Like I try to keep the studio here, the high definition studio, so we paid a lot of money to get this thing looking like it is. I try to keep it in pristine shape, but sometimes I just let it go for a week or two. And I feel like that if it's cluttered in here, I'm not giving my best interviews. I'm not doing.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so when I declutter, now my wife and Mariah did this, and I think I'm gonna hand this book to my wife next. Not that she's a clutter person. Don't y'all go tell me. But no, but she just did this, and I don't think she didn't realize it. But her and Mariah, because you guys know, Mariah's here with Sadie, and she said, "Let's just go in the living room, and we'll
Mhm.
put a timer on for 5 minutes, and what we get done, we get done." It was,
Yes.
and they did it together, and it was so
Yes.
rewarding. And so, the Power of One is a book designed for you to have a move of the day in transformation of your mind, body, and soul. You got to get a copy of this. I got an autographed copy, and so you can't have mine, but you can get your copy very simply by going to echoroyalfitness.com. Yes, because Reginald, the maestro who created one of our intros for the podcast, he's there in New Bern, North Carolina. He says I'm a clutter person. Well, Reginald, that's because you're artsy, brother. Us artsy people, we clutter, folks. You know what I mean? We clutter, and so what we have to do is like what Echo says. We have to just pick one thing, right?
Hmm.
Don't try to declutter the
The
whole.
whole house.
Right, because you're going to get frustrated and quit and not accomplish anything. I would rather have a clean corner of the desk and then work on the rest of the desk than have nothing at all and be stressed out. And so,
And I love, go ahead.
go ahead. No.
I was going to say, I love that you said your wife and your daughter did it together. I have a very dear friend, and she comes up whenever I ask her, and she says, "Okay, what is it you want to declutter?" I pick a room. She gives me goals for whatever I want to do. She comes over and she helps me. She talks me through it. We got the whole 2 rooms decluttered in a few hours, and everything hauled off at the same day. And again, we had a set time that
Yeah.
she was available, but that's again, that's your sisterhood, that's your accountability. That is all the things. And she's amazing. So having somebody there for accountability is priceless.
Yeah, it is, man. And listen, y'all, Reginald, you might need to get this book, brother. Reginald Midget, you might need to get it, bro. It is The Power of One by my dear guest, Echo Royale. She's in the county, y'all. She in Pamlico County. And you guys know that they got a statue of CL at Pamlico County Schools. Greg and I did a whole week out there at Pamlico County, and they worked me absolutely to death. So I love she says one thing she says on day 14, she says, right out 3 things you love about yourself. 3 things you love about yourself. Now, see, some of y'all religious folks gonna get all, well, you need to be humble. You need to be humble. I said, listen, I made this post, and I dared y'all because I'm the pastor of this show. I'm just playing. I said, humility and confidence can reside in the same body, y'all.
Yes.
Humility. See, because we sometimes mix up confidence with arrogance. This is why when you're dealing with arrogant people, you hear the folks say, well, you need to stay humble. But you can be confident. You can be assured of who you are. And one of the other things she says is positive things others say about me. And if you don't know, ask. And so
Yes.
this is a book, man, it's already 7:30. Can y'all believe that? How fast time flew. This is a book that I really do feel like it needs to be in all of our hands because your approach, not just the content, but your approach to this, Echo, is really revolutionary because I feel like whenever I read a day, or if I'm feeling like, man, let me go pick up and see what Echo tells me to do on day 10, and it says self-care. I'm like, ooh, self-care. That must mean go get me a burger at Burger King. I got a pretty broad definition of what self-care means, Echo. But no, every day is different. And that's what I love about this is that every day is different. And you don't have us doing this grueling ritual, long sloth and grind. You have us taking little steps. I love what Eric Thomas says, E.T., the motivational
Yeah.
speaker, he says, small steps, great distances.
Yes.
That's what you got us doing here, Echo. Small steps and great distances. So before we let you go, because unfortunately we gotta do that. So Greg can go to bed and eat his Captain Crunch. He eats his Captain Crunch first, then he goes to bed. Uh, what do you have next going on in your future? What's next for Echo Royale?
Well, like I said, my daughter and I are to be writing a book this year about our testimonies because we want to be able to help others and to understand that just because the relationship is strained doesn't have to stay that way. Ours is a story of restoration. So I'm really excited about that. Um, I do teach fitness, and I'm going to be relaunching Royal Studios at some point, so we can get back into movement, because I don't think people understand you don't have to do the hard things, the 30 burpees, the 10 push-ups and all that stuff. Walking is an excellent form of movement.
Yes.
And it's a great place to start, and you just go from there. But so many and I speak to women on this, as we get older and our bodies do different things, we don't have to age. We don't have to get all the things because we're getting older. We can combat all that. My phrase for this, well, my word of the year is transformation,
Right.
not only for myself, but I want to see other women, just like the old Echo, transform themselves, because it's our responsibility. I can't do it for you. You can't do it for somebody else. But I want to see women transformed. And that looks different for all the women. But the Lord has put on my heart this year to host a women's retreat.
All
So
right.
I'm working on that for the fall, and we haven't really named it yet, but it's something about 100 women on the move.
Okay.
Because it's about movement, again, mind, body, and soul. It's not about just physical movement, although that's an important part, because it does so much for our bodies, the physical movement part.
Right.
God's just opening doors. A few years ago, he put on my heart that he wanted me to teach fitness to women that are incarcerated, because of, if you've never been incarcerated or don't know somebody, or do, ask them, what is it that they do all day while they're in jail? How does it feel? Why do you think women end up in jail? A lot of times it's low self-esteem. It's a myriad of things. There's hundreds of different reasons. But imagine if you're incarcerated and you're in this small confined area, what do you do all day? You just kind of sit and just brood on why you're there and how you feel. Let's change that. So I'm open to whatever the Lord's leading me to do, but those are several things that he's already putting in place and putting in the work. So I'm very excited to share that with everybody.
I'm very excited to hear it. As you hear the music in the background, they're trying to tell us they're gonna kick us off the air. I don't know what they're planning.
All right.
Who the people are. But Echo Royale, this is so amazing. I looked at day number 26, and you know what day number 26 move of the day is? Forgiveness of ourselves.
Ooh,
Man, that's powerful.
it
Sometimes
is.
the person that's holding the biggest millstone around our neck is ourself, and
Yes, it is.
we have to forgive ourselves, and sometimes that can be easier said than done. It could be a process.
Very.
We praying that through. But I want everybody who's tuned in tonight, I want you to get this book, get your copy. You cannot have mine, because mine's signed, Joe. I got the signed copy, but get a copy of this book, The Power of One, and you'll see how simple it is to go through 30 days. And by the end of the 30 days, you can just start over and you got some good habits already established, right? You know
Yes.
what I'm saying?
Yes,
Or
exactly.
pick one and say, I'm going to do this for 30 days. And
Yes.
I'll roll it one day for 30 days and just keep on going that way. So a lot of flexibility in this book, a lot of creativity, a lot of power, and a lot of vulnerability, man, for helping tell your story to other people and share it with them. So Echo, we look forward to more collaboration at your women's conference. I know I'm not a woman, but if you need a radical motivational speaker to come shake things up, I'm your dude. Okay. So just don't forget that.
I won't forget.
Anyway, we thank you so much. Thank you for your time, and we'll be back in touch again, and we'll do this again and go over some more 30 days of great habits that we can do through the power of one. The power of one. Any last words for anybody out there that needs a word of encouragement? You got 30 seconds. Go ahead, Echo.
Find some accountability. Find your tribe. Your vibe attracts your tribe. So find your people, and remember, you're the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. So choose wisely.
Yeah, choose your friends wisely. That's right. Like I said, Greg Smith hang with me all the time, yo. And Greg and I are like 12 years apart in age, so he way older than me, right? He an old man. And, I said, Greg, how do we have anything in common? I'm from Cleveland, you from the South, the country, and we just best of friends, man. And so, and you know what? He has probably one of the highest characters and integrity of anybody walking the earth today. And so that's why I hang around him, because I'm a reprobate. So I need somebody like that to lift me up a little bit. So thank you, Echo Royale, for being with us tonight. night. We look forward to collaborating with you again in the future, okay?
Thank you so much, CL. I appreciate you.
All right, have a great night.
You too.
All right, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Echo Royal. Don't report. Man, what a tremendous day today, Greg, man. What a way to finish it out with a powerful, powerful book called The Power of One. If you would like to get your copy of the book, all you got to do is go to echoroyalfitness.com. That's ECHO royalfitness.com. Great show, Greg, as always. This will be it for us this week because Jeremiah starts baseball tomorrow, and I will not miss any of his local games. And so I can be a cool podcaster or I can be a dad, and I'm choosing the latter. Okay, so Greg and I was privileged to go to Havelock Middle and give a keynote address there, and then at Bogue Sound Elementary to talk to some really amazing kids. And we are just dead tired. I mean, soaked through my suits, ate some Bojangles and did it again. And just blessed. So I want you to understand this, y'all. Go to my Facebook page and look and see. You'll be able to see it for yourself. This is what we do all the time. We can't hardly even document all the things that we do. But whether it be in the jail or in the community or in the schools, we go to inspire people that no matter what happens in life, no matter the adversity, you still can make it. And we would love for you to help sponsor us to be able to do that, which helps offset the cost to those organizations who can't get all the money together to get us, but they want someone to come in with a message that shakes the audience. Many of the teachers told us today, they said, man, the kids really needed to hear this. We delivered Don't Drop the Hammer 2. And so in Bogue Sound, we delivered Bogue Sound Elementary. We talked about the number 5 and how all of those kids are a 5, and 5 deals with creativity and exploration, and their minds are in that realm. They're not 1s, they're 5s, y'all. And what a great time. So listen, if you'd like to become a sponsor to help us in this mission, I know some of y'all been looking on the sidelines like, yeah, okay, we're going to see how long this going to last. We've been doing it since 2009. We have not just started. And so we're and plus with this podcast. So if you'd like to become a sponsor, all you got to do is go to clkingspeaker.com and donate $1 a month. There's 3 levels. There's $1, there's $5, and there's $15. But if you would like to see if we actually commit to what we're doing, just donate $1 a month, because every dollar that you commit and help as a sponsor, it helps us to go and take this message of impacting one life one day at a time to everyone that is available. We do this because we care, y'all. All right, so until next time, Greg, enjoy the next few days off. We'll be at baseball tomorrow night for White Oak. We just finished dealing with our dear friend, Echo Royal, The Power of One. Get your copy of that today. And like I said, if you'd like to become a sponsor, just do that. We don't pressure you. We just live up to what we're called to do, and that is to make an impact. Till next time, as my boy A.B. Almore says, peace.